We've been working this month on moving toward our greatness. And the very first week, we talked about seeing possibilities. The very first week, actually, Patrick opened us to just knowing we could be greater. And then the next week, we worked on seeing possibilities. We talked about the possibility of being greater, and we talked about the self-talk that we need in order to do that. And remember, we talked about journaling and affirmations, which everybody just grabbed onto with a great enthusiasm. Yes. So in that moment, what we were doing was trying to build the soil within our own consciousness. And then last week, we talked about moving toward greatness, ideas of greatness that we might have for ourselves. And we talked about getting our gear, but not our uniform, and then acting as if. And so we'll get back to that in a little bit. But this is where we have been. So we're taking another step today. Today we're going to talk about the God ground. So I love the way Dr. Rocco Errico speaks of God. He's the Aramaic scholar and goes back to the original Aramaic language and tries to interpret it in a way that's more succinct. But he said that, in fact, in the New Testament, Jesus says very little about defining God. He says God is spirit, God is Father, God is love, God is within, and maybe a few other little things, but it's very little. So, and then when he talked about God in the Old Testament, when Moses says, he's on the Mount Sinai, and Moses says to this spirit that's talking to him, who shall I say sent you are? Who shall I say gave this message? And we've interpreted it as I am that I am. But that's interpreting from Aramaic, Greek, Latin, English, Old English. If you go back to the original Aramaic, the words are, I am the fulfillment of every man's desire. I am all that you will require. That was what was written about God. I am the fulfillment of all a man's desires. Changes it a little bit, doesn't it? Okay. So if we think about that energy as I am the fulfillment of all of your desires, who would not want to stand on the God ground? Who would not want to stand in the energy of God vibration? We are God's children. In every single person, the light of God exists, no matter what your faith, religion, or who you are. We're animated children of God. We have the right to choose to work looking toward God, being aligned with God vibration. We also have the right to turn away and look away from that God vibration and pretend we're not God's child. We really are, but we can pretend we're not. And then we can use our energy to self-serve, to serve self, to serve whatever, because we're in charge and la la la. And I know that we are both, are we not? Do we not go both directions? But typically what we want to do is we want to align ourselves with a frequency and line ourselves with the frequency of God. All right. In the Aquarian, I wanted to share a little scripture with you. This is in 72. Jesus has just reached the temple, and he's going into the temple, and he sees the priests, and then he sees the money changers in the house of God. So let me explain what the money changers were. According to the Jewish faith, you had to come in and you had to sacrifice for atonement of sins. So you'd sacrifice a bird, a dove, a cow, whatever you needed for whatever you had accumulated that needed to be cleared. But what they did was they created a system called the temple money. So it wasn't like you could bring your own money into the temple. You had to buy temple money and then buy the thing to sacrifice. So there was a markup on temple money. So you would have X number of dollars. I can buy a cow. No, you've got to change that to temple money. Now that cow is twice as much. Do you hear? Or a dove or whatever. So it was taking advantage of the people. It was taking advantage so that the temple gained finances. And Jesus said to the priests, he said, for a paltry gain, you have sold out the temple of God. This house is ordained for prayer, and now it's a den of thieves. And he called it thieves because they're taking money from the people. Can good and evil dwell in the courts of God? I tell you no. So the idea of a consciousness that is dedicated to God, and then allowing that consciousness of God to house a consciousness that is dedicated to self-serving. Okay? And Jesus says they cannot coexist. And then he asked the money exchangers to leave, as you'll recall. You guys know the story. He was very, very encouraging of them. Time for you guys to go. So, in the temple of your own beingness, and the temple of your sacred space, when you have aligned that space to be a space for you to be God's child, for you to be whatever you need to be, anytime we open that space up to serve something that is contradictory to that, we've just now split our focus, haven't we, in a way that is detrimental. Do you understand what I'm saying? The only example I could come up with is a church example, and this is many years ago, and I've shared it with you all before. You know, in our church, we love this place, we love God, we love everyone who comes through those doors, and our church is all about spirit, right? So we celebrate God when we're here. Everything is about life and growth and love and celebrating God. It's really not so much about partying. We don't party per se. And therefore, Patrick and I are non-drinkers, and therefore I've just not felt comfortable having alcohol on the premises for any reason. And so when someone has a reception here, we say alcohol-free, please. You know, if it's a small wedding and they have a reception. And we just held that because we want everyone to come in and feel the energy of God. I don't care what you do privately. And I imagine if we inventoried everybody, yeah, do what you want in your world. But do you hear what I'm saying? This sacred space was created for a church to have a place of worshiping God. So we were having a fundraising meeting, and someone had come up with this great idea. It was very, very easy. You could sponsor a polo match, and the polo matches are all around here. We're in horse country. It's easy. You pick a day. The churches do it all the time. They create a tent. They bring food, and they make a ton of money selling alcohol.
The church sells alcohol?
The church does this. All the churches in Atlanta do this. Really? Ton of money selling alcohol at the polo event. It's not on my grounds. It's not on my grounds. And our council at the time, you know, they enjoyed spirits in various forms. And so it was like, well, it's a lot of money for the weekend. It's a lot of money. And so it was like, but Cindy, we know how you are. So I said, well, let me talk to God. I went within, and this is what Spirit said. Why would you be in the world but you are not here? You're a church here. You have a vibration of a church here. If the church is going out into the world, it needs to hold its vibration. This isn't Cindy doing it. This isn't somebody else doing it. This is the church doing it. As we are here, we must be in the world. Do you see? And so we passed on that lucrative opportunity. But if we had just been a couple of people individually doing it, great. Donate to the church? Absolutely, I would have accepted it. Because I was not doing it. Do you see? So when you think of the church, it's easy for us to think of that as a consciousness, is it not? But you also have a consciousness. You also have a consciousness of your belief systems, what you hold to be true, what you treasure true for you, what is you, who you are. And oftentimes you are asked to be not who you are, and then you've let for gain of some sort, then you let the money changers in. You see? All right. Spirit took me to this. Could surrendering to God, and we hear it all the time, surrender, 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 surrender. Could surrendering to God simply mean that you are planting yourself in God energy? And I'm telling you, in God energy, morality does not exist. And that's a shock, I know. There's nothing about God and morality. God is, you are a child, and God energy is the love, Father, Spirit. Planting yourself in that, simply planting yourself, could be what surrender is all about. We think surrendering is giving up everything I've ever wanted, giving up all my desires and all that I need to be. Perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's just saying, I want to stay in the vibration of God energy. Okay, breathe in. I wanted to share with you the parable of the seeds, and I know you guys have heard this parable before, if any of you have been in any church that uses the New Testament. Okay. Jesus is talking to a group of people, and this is the parable. The sower went forth and sowed many, many seeds. Soon some were crushed beneath the feet of other men, and the birds came down and carried the seeds away. This is the seed that is planted in a path that is dominated by race consciousness, which means I need to do what my father before me did. So the seeds of spirit are given to me, but I can only do what I know is good for me to do, what my mother, father, mentor did. It's following the known path. Say, I got it. Some seeds fell on rocky ground where there was little soil, and they grew, and soon the blades appeared and promised much. But there was no depth of the soil, no chance for nourishment, and in the heat of noonday sun they withered and dried. These are the seeds that hear enthusiastically the Word of God. They hear, and by Word of God, I mean this the potential of being one with divine creativity and love and rising up above the limitations of this earth plane, and how exciting is this? And they get it, and they're trying to manifest. And you guys with me? And then you have a disappointment, and then that doesn't work, and then that doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and oh my God, not again? And then you stop doing what you thought you were going to do, because you did not have your seeds anchored deep enough in the soil. Those are the seeds. Some seeds fell where there were thistles, and they found no earth in which to grow, and they were lost. Now, thistles are beautiful. Have you seen them? They're just gorgeous. Yeah. These are the energies where you hear the words of truth and love, and you know their worth. But you know what? There's something shiny over there. And you know what? If I do this, people are going to really like me. And if I do that, I can make a lot of money. And this is the seed where I would love to follow these words of truth. But the reality is I want to be recognized. I want to be rewarded by the world. And I want to prosper. All right? Do you see the different soil levels? And there are different levels of consciousness. The last one, other seeds found lodging in rich, tender soil and grew. In harvest, it was found that some brought forth 100-fold, 60-fold, and 30-fold. These are the ones that hear truth, they comprehend it, and they let it sink deep into their souls. They live the holy life, and the world is blessed. Wait, they live the holy life, and the world is blessed. This isn't just about you. You, being the light, blesses the whole. Okay? All right. So, in the parable of the seeds, we can see that being planted in God consciousness, it does not mean we will not find trials. It does not mean there won't be little droughts every now and then. But it means that the roots are deep in the belief and the knowing that you are in God energy, and God energy is all that I will ever need. I am all that you will ever desire. I am that. I'm sticking my roots into that ground, and I'm growing in that energy, no matter what I experience. Makes sense? The girls last Sunday sang that song, You Say, and the line that I love was, it says, taking all I have, and I'm laying it at your feet. You have every failure, God, and you have every victory. That is being planted on God ground. A failure in God ground simply means you're having an experience for growth. I mean, you're having an experience to grow. Just these past 2 days, I have felt like a child in the accidents that I'm doing to myself. You know, and I did not trip, but like you trip and go, there's nothing to trip over. Why did you do this? You know, or something odd happens, and it's like when you were a kid and you couldn't control your body, you know? And I'm saying, God, this must be a learning experience, because I am certainly planted in you. I want everything to be around about this God ground. But isn't it normal for most of us when we're experiencing something odd like that? We go, what is wrong with me? What have I done? Oh my God, we go right to the I'm out of God consciousness now and something awful is going to happen to me. It's a fear-based world we live in. They teach us to do that. Instead of, nope, pull back, God's got me. And in God ground, miracles can occur. We see them all the time. God ground is all good. In the world, if I fail or if I succeed, I am growing in a vibration of pure God love. I wanted to read this from Jesus, Teacher Healer. Okay, I'm going to have to paraphrase it because I did not mark it. When you surrender and you give your light to work in the energy of God love, you are always working for the good of the whole. And working for the good of the whole is really not about looking at the whole and asking what it needs. It's not about looking at society and saying, oh, what does society need that I can contribute? Where is there a hole in the frequency where I can go be the hero and help them? Oh, somebody must need my talents. That's not what working for the good of the whole is about. When we live the godly life, all are blessed. If I can live and hope and breathe and love God with everything I do, I am giving everybody in the world permission to do the same. And if I can do that, then everything I do is blessing the whole with God light. Imagine that you could lift above the earth and you could look back at the earth and you could see the hearts of all mankind, the hearts. You would see radiant lights sparkling. The globe would become so illumined with light. And now, shut your eyes and imagine you see the thoughts of mankind from far. Oh, quite a different picture. There would be streams of light, there would be streams of darkness, there would be packets of fear. The thoughts of mankind would have a multitude of aspects to it. But the hearts are pure. Think about when you pick up a beautiful crystal and it's got a lot of points on it and you see the shiny glimmer of it. Do you not turn it and look at every facet? And do you look at all the things and turn it upside down and look at every single detail? And do you look to pick your perfect point that's perfect for you? No. You look at the whole thing. You look at everything that shines and is beautiful. It's the whole piece that you're looking at. And every one of those little facets and every one of those little edges is a part of the beauty of that crystal. And if they're all shining, doesn't it take your breath away? It just becomes stupendous. It's amazing. When we can plant in God, and when we can shine, we become that. And every facet of our life is like the crystal. Shining, 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 shining. Even if it is a seeming not as good as some other crystal might be doing, it still shines. It shines because it's us. All right. What would the world look like if everyone was shining? Right here, right now. Okay. The good of the whole. So planting in God ground for the good of the whole means that I am taking my light and my desires, my dreams, my hopes, my wanting to experience, all of me, all of Cindy little girl, Cindy master, all of Cindy, and I'm planting it right in the middle of God's substance. Now I already have my desires, do I not? I already have things I want to do, do I not? They came up from within me. They could be the breath of God expressing, could be my higher self. They're me. And I plant it right in the energy of I am all that you will ever need. God consciousness. Now what can grow? All of it. And the amazing thing, when you're in that consciousness, you know what else grows? Things you didn't even plant. Oh, you're going to need that. Oh, look, an orange tree. I love oranges. I guess I need oranges. Oh, look, I've got an opportunity coming up over here. I guess I needed that too. Everything starts to grow around you to support what is happening within you. Standing in that energy. I am shining, and when I'm shining, I bless all. And when I am shining, I do become spectacular. I am amazing. I am awesome. Do you not? And you know that what that feels like. Every one of you knows what that feels like. We just need to learn to live there, live in that space. And in the moments of a failure, seeming failure, in the moments of a challenge, silly little things happening, anchor in God. Father, Mother God, you have me. You've got me. Translate this energy, heal this energy, whatever needs to happen, I let your light move through me now. So that Cindy, I am Cindy, can handle it. Okay, here we go. Last week, we talked about picking our goals, right? And you get your gear first, you put on your uniform, and you act as if. So I asked everybody to be willing to consider wearing something today that represented a goal of greatness that you had in your heart. Did anybody do that? Yes. Awesome. How many did that? Oh, I love it. Yay, yay, yay. So and those of you that did not, I'm going to help you in just a second. But those of you that did, I want you just to feel you have something on your body now that is symbolic of an area that you want to become great in, an area of greatness. I actually have 7 things of greatness that Cindy wants to experience in the world, Now this becomes a part of our uniform. And if we wear the uniform, we're wearing the vibration of it, right? Now, if you did not do this, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to think of an area that you do want to find greatness in, something that you really, in your heart, I want that. Anybody think of something? If you can't raise your hand, I'll give you something. Now, those of you that didn't wear anything, think of something and shut your eyes in 2 seconds and just get a color. Just a color. Everybody got a color? Okay, open your eyes. Got a color? Okay, we're going to anchor this in meditation. So you're going to take your color with you, and those of us that wore something, we're going to take those symbols with us. All right? So let's put our feet on the floor. Father, Mother God, I ask that your light fill this room. I ask that a beautiful umbrella of light engulf us all. And Father, I ask that individual columns of light come over each person. And we feel your love, God. We feel Jesus Christ standing by our side, sitting with us. Whatever the perception is, call that energy forth. And I would invite all of you just to let your focus come to you, your column of light. And I want you just to hear the words. I am all that you will ever need. I am the fulfillment of your desires. And I want you to imagine that you can lift up the column of light just a little bit. Just a little bit until you feel this beautiful heavenly consciousness. And allow your mind to create a picture, a vision of a beautiful meadow, a garden, whatever is appropriate for you. Feel that you and Jesus Christ have lifted to this beautiful space. And it feels like peace. And the love of God is filling this space. Just breathe it in. And now feel the dream, the symbol, the color of that which you want to achieve greatness in. In your mind's eye, just charge it, hold it in your hands, in your heart, see it around you, what you want to achieve greatness in. Hold that energy, that frequency. And feel it come alive. Feel the vibration of it come alive. And first we have to plant it in our heart. So take the energy and put it in your own heart and say, I say yes to this. I say yes to my desires and my dreams. And now take a step out into the beautiful grass, the perfect place, whatever your vision shows you. Take a step out to the God ground. And as you stand on it, feel the energy of pure God love flowing through you, flowing through all that you are. And if you're ready, plant yourself. Plant your whole consciousness, your vibration, your beingness. I plant myself in this God ground. Father, Mother God, flow through me. I anchor my roots of faith in this land. I anchor my roots of belief in infinite potential, possibilities, and God love. I anchor my roots and feel the roots going down. Feel a beautiful light engulfing you now and just steadying you a bit. Father, Mother God, I say yes to all of these things that I seek to become great in. And just feel them beginning to move through this space. And you can just see them also being planted in the ground, perhaps, or growing from your own heart, however the vision comes. And Father, I say yes to even greater, that which I have not yet dreamed into being. I say yes to you. And feel that light shining through you. Feel the brightness. And I receive. Feel the sky open, feel the beautiful light pouring into you, feel yourself strong. And almost as if it's time, you can feel yourself gently just coming back into the physical body. And I want you just to keep your eyes closed, feel yourself seated in the chair. And now, with your heart, I'm going to ask you to take a breath in a moment. And I'm going to ask you in your heart to say, and I say yes to everyone else's dreams. Everybody ready? Take a breath. And send your love. I say yes to everyone's dreams in this room and all who will hear my voice. Whew, can you feel it growing strong and bright? I say yes to all. The greatness of each one. And Father, Mother God, we thank you for this blessing, and we thank you that we can be a blessing for the whole. Feel your heart, feel your body, feel your gratitude. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Now, if you plant it, we can see how it feels to live in God ground, with that love supporting everything. And you will watch yourself as you start to turn. As you start to turn away, you will feel yourself being drawn back. No, child. No, child. Come on. I'm here and I've got you. The most consoling words you'll hear is when Jesus Christ says, I got you. I got you. Let yourself be adjusted back. And let yourself shine. And as you shine, you give me permission to shine, and I want to shine. Yeah, say, yay, God. Yay, God.